Let me know if you've heard any of these numbers before. 250,000 folks are underwater. 64% increase in foreclosures. 35% drop in prices. These are all things that may be statistically correct, but I will tell you right here, right now, are irrelevant and misleading. We've got to talk about what's going on in the housing market because it is changing and changing fast. There are distortions all over the place. In order to do that, we bring on the three amigos. We have Matt, the lumberjack, up in or down in Vegas, right? We're in Vegas today.
Yep, we're in Vegas today. Just hitting it from the road.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you for doing this on a family vacation.
Yeah, family vacation, first one ever. So it's been fun so far.
Is it actually a vacation if you quit? I guess I should ask Dion that. If you quit, do you actually ever take vacations again, or is it just life?
It's just life, but I'm going to be in Vegas also. So is that a vacation from vacationing?
It's a vacation from vacationing.
Vacation squared.
It's vacation squared. I love how you guys think. Well, folks, if you're in Vegas, you might want to reach out to Matt and or Dion. I think they're going to be together. Maybe there's a photo opportunity. And if you guys go do that, tag me. I'd love to see you guys together. But guys, let's talk about these numbers. I know the one and only Millennial Mike has taken it on himself to attack or address some of these. Why don't we talk about, Dion, what Mike's been doing? I know he has a couple of episodes out, but let's just get into it.
Well, he's got a really good playlist of calling out fake gurus, right? And the benefit to that is he points out the ones that are doing it right, and the ones that are, if this person's income comes from YouTube and not the asset class that you're investing in, maybe you shouldn't be listening to that person, right? Especially if the asset class is real estate, maybe you shouldn't be listening to a renter if they don't have rentals. I mean, you could be renting and have 10 rentals. That can totally make sense.
Yeah, sure. You could.
But I like it how you said these statistics, while true, might be irrelevant or are irrelevant in many cases. And not only that, I might take it a step further, the foreclosures, right? A lot of people know investors like Minority Mindset, who in 2010 and 11 was scooping up properties because they had gone through foreclosures. So there's this idea that if foreclosures spike, there'll be a surge in inventory, so prices will come down. On my list of, here's all the reasons why I want to buy a property: small multifamily, in my footprint, side-by-side units, washer, dryer, hookup. Like, I have this long list of everything I want to make my portfolio work. I have some don'ts. I don't want an HOA. I don't buy foreclosures or short sales. I don't want to tie money up with a lending institution that could take up to 1 to 2 years to make up their mind. And so, yes, if there were millions, if it spiked to millions, multiple millions, because that would actually be an increase, because we had years where we had $1 million a year every year. And then we have last year and the year before where you have record low, artificially low, because there's a ban on foreclosures. So now, not even being close to normal numbers, we've increased the number. So there are some people sitting back that haven't thought it through, that are thinking, when the foreclosures get good enough, then I'll start buying. An asset class I wouldn't bond unless there was so many the lenders were trying to get them off their books, and that's not the case. And if those foreclosures started now, what's the timeline on when that's actually going to be on the market and available?
That is the biggest crime, because I believe people are talking about foreclosures up 64% or 300% or whatever number they want to pull out of their ass. That's a foreclosure start. So unlike a lot of these geniuses, I've been in a market where foreclosures and short sales dominate. In California, Nevada, Florida, the average tenure of days of houses in foreclosure is over 1,000 days. That's almost 3 years. Let's say they cut it in half. Who thinks it's going to go faster? I don't, but let's say it happened. That's still 1.5 years. So while foreclosures are up and you may be salivating at the idea of foreclosures, realize best case, it's a summer 2024 inventory spike. So that's one thing to think about. Matt, what do you think about when you hear foreclosures are up?
I mean, I just texted my agent and said we're going to sell all of my rental properties because a couple of commenters on YouTube said I should. And Then I realized that I wouldn't have been able to go on my extremely expensive vacation if I sold all those rentals.
Yeah.
So, because it's paying for my vacation. So what I look at is the thing that people always miss, which is it's either not listed or it's in the fine print. And what I mean by that is starts have nothing to do with finishes. They have nothing to do with it. It really truly is like, this is the bucket that you're pulling from, but what do you think you're going to get? 100% pull through on foreclosures? Anybody with a half of a brain cell understands that that's not how it works at all on any level. It only works when you usually get between 25 and 35% pull through, which means even that number, which they believe is massively escalated, it still actually doesn't get us to pre-pandemic foreclosures actually happening.
Yeah.
Those are the real numbers. So while it takes a year, let's play the fun game. It accelerates and cuts in half, like you said. Okay, so mid 2024, we're going to see a spike. But how much of a spike? That means they've had another year plus. And the Great Giveaway Administration, if they really start to see that that's a problem going into an election year, do you really think that they're going to let that happen? No way. They're going to make forbearance, look like a cracker compared to a gourmet meal. It's nothing. So I think the biggest issue is going to be non-movement. It's going to have nothing to do with foreclosures. There isn't going to be a bunch of inventory coming from there because all the smart people that I talk to, I mean, you two are included, but there's a lot of others as well. Guess what they all are doing? Stacking cash, waiting. Every investor I talk to is stacking cash and waiting. Every single one of them.
Even Ivy Zellman, somebody who has been generally speaking warning about housing, right? Housing is being overbuilt. She's really talking cities when you peel back what Ivy is saying, like Phoenix, right? That's what she's saying.
Yep.
But she's even saying the big institutions, private equity, Invitation Homes, those ilk, they're sitting on 110 billion of already allocated capital.
Correct.
Ready to pounce. So again, if there is a foreclosure wave, folks, you ain't getting a bite. They're going to go right to Invitation Homes. They're going to lickety split this, be done. It's not coming.
What I don't hear anybody talking about is the fact that the world's largest e-commerce company in Amazon, or at least the US's, Amazon's owner or founder,
Jeff Bezos,
right? He starts his company. I think they're about 200 homes in, about 200. Do you think that he's stopping at 200? Are people nuts? It's Amazon. He started out by doing the book thing. And then it's going to become this massive big thing. So I really believe that as massive players that have billions and billions and billions of dollars, not only of cash, but also of stock wealth, I believe that they're going to make a heavy play towards these types of assets.
Yeah, one of the things, go ahead, Dion.
What I like is Mike, in your January 2nd update, which was today, if you're watching this in future world, you talked about the age difference. And there are people, who, if you're younger, the more common, so not everybody, but more common idea is that stocks are going to go up. And if you're older, more closer to our age, the idea is that stocks are going to come down. So I don't think that's the same with real estate. I think that the millennials lived through their parents' housing crash, and their parents, us, lived through the housing crash, right? And so when we hear things, and Matt says the buzzword, forbearance, our brains, because you can't separate logic from fact, right? You have to subconsciously understand that even though you can explain things at our core subconscious, we're still going to feel a certain way. The last time we had forbearance, it ended, and banks said, pay up now or we're foreclosing. And then they learned a lesson.
Yeah.
They tanked. The banks tanked, right?
Yeah, many of them don't exist anymore. Washington Mutual, Countrywide. I mean, yeah, they're not doing that again. Right. And I just want to remind people that the Crash Bros 2 years ago, how many times did we hear 4.2 million people in forbearance, Black Knights reporting this or this or this? Well, as I said many, many times, it ain't coming. And now that we've 2 years into this, less than 1% went to a short sale. They were all short sales. So again, 4.2 million were supposed to be the number, and it didn't happen. 40-year mortgage, forbearance, second mortgage is 0 interest. The banks aren't going to do it again, to Dion's point. Let's go to another metric that I think people are going to start to hear about. It's actually one of my 12 predictions for 2023. In 2023, I expect days on market to go up 150%. National Association of Realtors last reported days on market at 24. So I want people to realize the math says that I expect days on market to get to 60. Now, if you are my age and you've been in the market 22 years, 60 is on the upper end, but rather still in the normal category. If you've only been doing this 2 years, you're used to 9, 11, 12 days. It's going to feel like molasses.
Yeah.
But trust me, part of the housing market being boring in 2023 is going to be slower. So yeah, I expect days on market to go up, and I expect people to lose their mind. Oh my God, we're over 30 days on market. That's not normal. 35, that's not. Anything over 42, you kind of get back to normal. But I expect it to get to 60. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think if you look at real estate agents, they're going to start going through a burn, right? Because for the last 3 years, they would take any listing they could get. Yep, take it. Yep, take it. Yep, bring it. Yep, sure, absolutely, send it. And then they would, put their package out there. Here's my marketing package, and boom, we get it to market. And now we're trying to sell the house. The problem is that they got used to that thing going in 9 days, 12 days, 15 days. And then they're like, hey, cool, great. My package to put this thing out there was $500 or $600, and I'm going to get a commission check of $6,000 to $20,000 typically, right? So I think that the biggest issue is going to be that they're going to be in a time where they're closing half as many homes. They're going to be putting a lot of homes on the market that might not sell. And what I've started to see is really good agents be far more aggressive up front with their sellers and basically say, I'm not taking the listing at that. And you have to be disciplined. You have to not take the listing at that number. You have to really know your market, because if you're just taking that listing at that number, you're going to be one of those agents who spent $50,000 in marketing in the last 6 months and sold 2 of those homes, and you're underwater. So I think that that's the way I continue to see it go. I think that transactions are going to be super slow like molasses. And the first thing you said when you said 60, I said, so you mean normal?
Yeah, exactly.
It cut in my head. I was like, okay, so we're back to like reality. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
no,
And the best part there is that means that you as a buyer are really, if you're fully educated and you really know what you're looking at, and you know not only the finance side of it, but actually structurally what you're looking at as an asset. Is it value add? How much is that value add going to cost you? If you really know those things, man, riches are in the niches. That's where you absolutely crush it.
Yeah. Dion, what are your thoughts about days on market going up to possibly 60 days?
Well, there's 2 things with days on market. One I'm excited about, the other I'll be entertained by. The one I'm excited about is I've been investing for a decade where speed was our friend. Uptrending market shifts. Yes, there were more and more crash videos coming out, so 2% of our competition goes away every time one of those videos comes out. So keep doing those, please. Yes. But here's what I'm excited about. You do the work every day. You look at the deals, 15, 20 minutes. You don't pile up 5 hours on a Saturday because you'll probably goof off for most of it. And then you missed everything that happened on Wednesday and Thursday. But I generally had 15 minutes to look at a property, run my numbers, mentally calculate, okay, where's the neighborhood? I'm okay with that. Make the offer. Use the inspection period to back out if there's something there that I wasn't aware of, like super loud nightclub right next to the tracks, whatever the thing was that would have been the deal breaker. 15 minutes. I might actually take an hour.
Yeah.
Like if I see it's on there for 60 days, I'm going to sit back and go, wow, I can Google Earth this thing. I can actually, check the county records on septic issues. I could like have a whole hour to do something. That's going to be cool. And the thing I'm going to be entertained by, days on market hit 60. I think, maybe they'll take a 95% offer. It's a good price, even at what they're listed, but there must be something. So I make my offer. The agent's response is going to be almost every time, it's so weird. We didn't hear anything for about a month, but now we've got like 4 offers on the table. Is this
multiple offers.
We need your best and final by tomorrow because now we've got a bunch of offers. They don't.
Nope, they don't. Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so the last thing we'll talk about as we wrap this up, because again, I think I can see a theme of videos coming, and I just want them prepared, right? We talk to people in the parking lot, in the audience, and on the field. The last one is going to be one I think becomes more and more, and that is more and more home buyers are underwater. I think, Matt, you did a great video on your channel with the three of us a couple weeks ago. We just have to hit it because I'm seeing it in my feed more and more. I want to be very clear. If you bought with a VA loan, 0% down, if you bought with an FHA loan at 3.5%, or you bought with a 5% conventional loan, I have a hard truth for you. You are underwater the day you closed. It's just mathematically correct, and it is irrelevant. I want you to understand, when you go buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, it's worth less. Does that mean the car is going to get taken away? No. So when you buy a house for $100,000 and then you have $6,000 in selling costs, you're really only going to get $94,000, roughly speaking, at exit. And if your loan's $95,000, you're upside down. It doesn't freaking matter. Again, I think these reports of 250,000 people being underwater are underreported. I want to be clear. I think it's worse than that. And I think it is freaking irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. The average person stays in a home 8 years, not 8 seconds. So Dion, we'll go to you first to bring it home.
I wish I was underwater on all my properties.
Tell me more.
I recycle cash flow, right?
Ah,
I don't do HELOCs, refis, cash outs. I haven't sold the 1031. I'm not trying to be super sexy with BRRRRs or anything like that. I want cash flow. Cash flow would increase if I can go to my county tax assessor and say, hey, let me show you this binder on what the comps are in my area versus what you're charging me for my taxes on my properties.
I like it.
And increase my cash flow.
There you go. And oh, by the way, your debt's fixed, so it doesn't freaking matter. These are residential loans that don't get called. It's crazy. All right, Matt, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, the payment's not changing for me. And you know what? It's really crazy. It was just December. We did 5 new rentals in December. They were all more expensive in the market. Every one of them. Yeah. They were more expensive. And the crazy thing is that we actually had rents go up and our liability be reduced because we stopped including heat and hot water. And in the Northeast, that's a huge thing. But now there's fuel assistance programs and things like that. And so literally I had somebody text me back and say, I'm living like I'm Amish over here. And I was like, you had no problem living on the high life when I was paying for everything, but now that you're paying for everything, you're living like the Amish. I think we're going to continue to see this cycle through the market. And yeah, I think that to your point and to what we did that video on, there are millions of people underwater and it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, except for the very few that have to sell. It just doesn't matter. It's about that payment.
Very cool. Well, Matt, how can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram. And live streams usually on Sundays. And so, yeah, we'll be doing a live stream from Vegas on Sunday. It should be fun.
Wow. And Dion, where can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. And yes, it'll be in Vegas. But after that, I'm not sure where. So
very cool. Thanks, guys.